Hi there. I don't like that. I laugh out loud because I thought that was so funny. Hi, Red. How are you? Hanging in there on this rainy day. It's been nice. Coffee. I just need some coffee and some shelter. We're good. Yes. The couch. Yes.
Hi, Lindsay and Jennifer, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Of course.
Why is it over here?
All right, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order at 1 o'clock. Totally blanked out. Ms. Barboa, could we start with roll call, please?
Jeffrey Anthony,
Present.
Catherine Arvisu,
Present.
Don Bell,
Present.
Owen Brosenders,
Here.
Cindy Coleman,
Present.
Lindsay Escalona,
Here.
Luis Gonzalez,
Here.
Red Morrow,
Here.
Raghu Nandan,
Present.
Peter Norquist,
Present.
Tiffany Rogers, Sophia Blue, Erica Miranda Carter.
Present. Thank you, Ms. Barboa. Do we have any agenda adjustments? No? Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on with the agenda as is. Call to the audience. I believe we have one call to the audience. Ms. Arvisu, if you can please read the script for us.
At this time during the meeting, members of the audience may address the Bond Oversight Committee in regard to the items of concern in person or by sending their written comments to be read into the record. During the audience call, the Bond Oversight Committee Chair or Vice Chair will recognize speakers and maintain order by setting appropriate limitations. Any person desiring to speak shall provide their full name and topic on a call to audience card. When addressing the Bond Oversight Committee, the speaker should begin by stating their full name and topic. Speakers are encouraged to be brief. The maximum speaking time is 3 minutes. Individuals attending the meeting and or addressing the Bond Oversight Committee should observe the rules of propriety and good conduct and refrain from impertinent or slanderous remarks. TUSD serves students from all ages, so speakers should be aware that children may be present. At the end of the audience call, the Bond Oversight Committee Chair will ask if an individual Bond Oversight Committee member wished to respond to a speaker's criticism, ask staff to review a matter, or ask that the matter appear on a future agenda. By law, at most, 2 Bond Oversight Committee members can address any single issue raised during the audience call.
Thank you, Ms. Arvisu. Ms. Barboa, will you please read the letter?
Dear Bond Oversight Committee, my name is Emily Verdugo, an ardent supporter of the TUSD bond and override, a proud TUSD parent, and even more enthusiastic Rincon University marching band parent. I am writing to you today to support district staff recommendation to provide classrooms and a new band room for the Rincon University campus. I support this recommendation for the following reasons. 1, voters approved these funds specifically for improving students' learning environment. Any other option that does not benefit students should not be considered. 2, the existing portables on the Rincon University campus have outlived their benefit and value to the campus and should be replaced. 3, a new building would positively enhance the campus, proving tax dollars were used wisely. Once again, giving voters reason to support future TUSD tax-funded endeavors. But the main reason I support this option is the musical gem of TUSD, where award-winning musicians emerge and participate, the Rincon University Music Program. As the president of the Rincon University Band Booster, I had the honor and privilege to see the amazing work, the unwavering commitment, and pure dedication by both staff and students to make this program one of the best in Arizona. Over 200 students each year participate in marching band and concert and jazz ensembles, with Rincon University students always represented at the top of championships and competitions, many times taking first place. And because of this, their band room, the space where RUHS students spend much of their high school experience, should match the pride their accomplishments bring to the district. The current band room has served its purpose, a space to develop musicians, but over the years, this old band room now lacks the space and amenities to provide the adequate learning environment for a program of its size and excellence. Size aside, part of that building was deteriorating, and since it was built, it has had minimal to no meaningful upgrades. Over the years, the Parent Booster has provided much needed funds to support the program. One visibly important investment are the beautiful travel trailers used to transport the instruments, traveling across Arizona and a few times to California. Parents have been valuable in fundraising to help the band camp, uniforms, food, everything needed to sustain its amazing program and support students and staff. As one of these parents, I feel now is the appropriate time for the district to also champion the incomparable program. I humbly ask for your support and accept staff recommendation for new classrooms and band room for the Rincon University campus. This is the only option that meets the bond mandate to benefit students and gives RUHS students another reason to be proud of the educated at Tucson TUSD. Emily Verdugo.
Thank you, Ms. Borboa. Is that the only call to the audience we have?
Yes, that's the only one that was submitted.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Verdugo, for your letter. We appreciate you taking the time to write it. Is there any comments on Ms. Verdugo's? Okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and move on to item 4.01, bond project updates. Dr. Carter?
All right. Good afternoon. I don't remember the last time we had this many in-person VOC members, and that's good. Thank you so much. Actually, isn't the first one the financial report?
Are you doing the financial one? Okay.
Yeah, Ricky. I will turn it over to our CFO, Ricky Hernandez.
Okay, good afternoon. So last month, we provided an update to the governing board, which is required by statute to provide an update to the community and to the governing board about our bond program. And so just as an exercise with you all, we want to make sure that we provided you the same information. And so Dr. Carter and I decided we're going to start with financials and then kind of work our way backwards with her part of the report. So this was the financial activity through the end of September. As you recall, in 2024, we issued $150 million worth of bonds. As of today, we currently have about $62 million in expenses and as of September 30th, I should say, we have just over $62 million in expenses and encumbrances that have gone out the door since the inception of the program. For FY26, there's a projection to spend an additional $70 to $90 million, depending on the different projects that get completed or encumbered. I've already started discussions with our bond advisors on issuing a new bond this coming spring. So we will be working on issuing another $150 million probably in the month of April, so that we can begin on the work that's going to be presented to you later this afternoon. But at this point, we are on track based on our planning in terms of spending down the amount of the bond revenue that we have on hand as of today, or as of September. So, obviously throughout this process, we've talked about challenges that the bond financials have encountered. And so we've had to have discussions internally about how we need to reimagine bond finances. How do we reimagine how we move forward with the capacity that we have? Because unfortunately, the value of a dollar today is certainly not as valuable as it was in 2023 or 2022. So inflationary increases, they go without saying. They continue to affect the cost of labor in particular, but the cost of materials more significantly. So our ability to buy the same amount of material and acquire the same number of hours from our vendors is just not the same from what we estimated was going to happen when we put these numbers in 2023. So this has caused us to obviously have conversations with you all and with the governing board about how we essentially reinvest certain dollars and put certain projects either on hold or kind of push them to the back burner, if you will, so that we can move forward with priority projects in the district. We have focused on finding investments from other funding sources wherever possible, because just as much, those are limited as well. School plant funds, those are derived from sales of property at the district. We haven't sold a piece of property yet. We are expecting to finalize the sale of Carson and Lyons. The sale of the sale of Carson and Lyons by the end of next year, which will bring in some revenue. We are selling 1010, obviously, but that is essentially a flip, right? We're selling 1010 to buy 220 West 6th, so it's going to be a net of zero there. So there really is no revenue coming from that sale in terms of additional uses. Adjacent ways, those dollars are, they come from a tax levy, but those are limited literally to infrastructure repairs that are adjacent to schools, sidewalks, ingress and egress, emergency access to schools. So we're really not talking about large infrastructure. And building renewal grants, obviously these are dollars that come from the State Facilities Board. The issue with SFD or with BRG grants is the fact that, one, they run out of money. The legislature appropriates about $240 million a year. That money runs out generally by February or March. And then we're just running on IOUs. So the BRG continues to tell us, hey, continue to submit applications. We'll fund emergencies, right? If a roof falls or whatever, we'll continue to do those. But, repairs that aren't necessarily emergent can wait. So we're stuck, right? Projects get approved. We can't get started until the money train gets started again, and the legislature funds that. So it's always kind of back pay. We also have to determine what major projects will not be completed in the life of the current bond program. That is a reality that this Bond Oversight Committee and the governing board will have to face. Because of the extent of the first two items, in particular the inflationary costs, our ability to do 100% of the projects in the bond is not realistic at this point. I will be very forthright about that. And so we, the bond team, the Bond Oversight Committee with the governing board, we really need to make a determination as to what can be done, what are those priorities, which is why we talked about priorities in the beginning, right? School safety and health, support of building improvements or learning improvement projects. I'm forgetting one. Yeah. Oh, and HVAC. So that's why we kind of bubbled those to the top, because those tend to affect our classrooms, our kids, our teachers the most, right? But we're not going to be able to do everything. We're not going to be able to do every domestic water line improvement in the district, but we know those projects need to be done. So kind of building upon that, it's also fidelity to the projects that align to the top three priorities, the HVAC, the health and safety, and their learning spaces, versus ad hoc requests that come from either district leaders or school leaders from the Bond Oversight Committee or community members, right? The moment that we kind of have to shift and pivot, that is just another kind of challenge that we have to overcome in order to now address something that either may not have been on the original bond program or is now going to create an additional financial constraint to the existing bond program. Case in point, football fields, turf fields. We had one high school. We, unfortunately, due to equity, we now have to essentially do all of them. And so, as I presented to you back in September, it was shuffling chairs on the deck in order to be able to fund the entirety of the project, because you can't do just Sabino and Pueblo without doing the remaining high schools, with the exception of Innovation Tech. This is, so I won't kind of read through the whole thing, but this is the bond spending based on category through the end of September. So these are expenditures as well as the encumbrances that were on our ledger as of the end of the first quarter. So you can see, obviously, that, the vast majority of our money has gone into HVAC. Of the 61 million, essentially, about a third of that money has gone into air conditioning, into cooling and heating. Now that we're here. The rest of it is school buses. Most of that came from the fact that we had already purchased buses and we paid those off. They may still be running on diesel, but they are definitely cleaner than the old, really old buses with the black clouds that kind of came out of the tailpipe. I hated being behind those. And then field turfs and lighting, right? So the Bond Oversight Committee, the governing board, we all made a concerted effort and a commitment to our high schools to improve our athletic facilities, essentially for our high school athletes. So, and then it just kind of moves around. So we've definitely been sticking to the priorities of learning, improvement, health and safety, and HVAC. One of the requirements is I have to talk to you about, our debt service, our property taxes, our existing funding. So right now, the 2004 bond program still has a remaining $32.5 million in outstanding debt. That was part of the bond debt service schedule that we presented to voters when voters passed the bond in 2023. That debt service will have been paid off by 2030. So in the next 4 fiscal years, that debt service will move away. Our commitment to voters was that the average tax rate would be 78 cents per $100 of assessed valuation in 2023. And we have kept that commitment. So in 2025, in fiscal year 25, our tax rate was 79 cents. This year it is 78 cents. So we have been able to stick to the tax rate that we committed to voters we would have in order to fund the bond and the debt behind it. Now, these are all assuming that valuations across Tucson Unified grow by about 3% over the next 4 years, and then about a 1% year after or thereafter. So we hope, we'll see, as data kind of starts to roll out for valuation data has now started to roll out. We'll get our abstract from the county assessor in January, February, and that will tell us exactly how property valuation is moving in TUSD. This is just an overview of the state capital funding. So on the left in the red boxes, so you get, we received an allocation of unrestricted capital. This is the fund that over, 10 years, and Cindy is very well aware of this, this is the fund that under the Ducey administration, we lost about $160 million over 10 years. It has since been reinstated. But after the bond passed, we've been using some of these capital dollars to offset operations. And now with the passage of the override, we're going to move that back, right? We're going to be able to put those capital dollars out of operations and back into capital so we can focus back on the capital needs of the district. The majority of the budget is funded by the state. Those dollars come directly from state formula, from a district additional assistance formula. For this year, that budget is about $17.7 million, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot for a school district of our size. Even if we were fully funded, it would only be about 27 million. Another 10 million is going to be great. $10 million goes real quick in this district. And so On the right, you see under the purple boxes, you see building renewal. So these are the grant applications that we submit to the school facilities board for approval for capital dollars to, to do infrastructure projects. And you've seen some of those happening around this district. They're not as sexy as fields and lights and stages, but they are HVACs and boilers and roofing, and parking lots in some instances. And so they are still critical infrastructure. You can see from 2020 to 2024, we submitted nearly 200 projects to SFD. The majority of those got funded, and we received almost $44 million in funding from SFD. It is first come, first served. We're fortunate that we're the third largest district in the state, so Damon is really good about making a lot of noise with SFD. But it is still first come, first served. And when the money runs out, the money runs out. And that has happened for several years now. So this is kind of our state-funded capital. So our expenses on the left for unrestricted capital, you can see that the majority of our expenses went into non-instructional short software licenses. Well, not the majority, but the second half. So a lot of those are licenses to operate the district. Anything from our financial management system to our student information system, and a lot of software pieces that we license in order to operate the school district. The vast majority, like well over half of that, went directly back into the classroom. So we were fortunate that in fiscal year 25, under the leadership of Dr. Flory Hewitt, the Curriculum and Instruction Department has put out a 5-year plan to replenish our textbook adoptions. I made the joke at one point that there was a textbook adoption in science that still had Pluto as a planet. You can debate it all you want, but apparently Pluto is no longer a planet, but the textbook still said that. So we obviously need better textbooks updated. We bought a brand new science adoption. And that's what we've been focusing on, right, is investing in updating our textbook adoptions across the entire district. We are in the 3rd year of a 5-year phase. And so that is where we're trying to put the brunt of our dollars in addition to competing, unfortunately, with our infrastructure, right? So it goes back to what I've said to other community groups. It's the constant battle between the laptop and the toilet. You need them both. But I don't know. Do you? I don't know. I reserve comment. In FY26, our budget is, kind of shadows essentially what we did in fiscal year 25. I mean, the majority of the money is going into library books and textbooks and instructional aids, while the next biggest chunk is going into software, non-instructional software licenses that operate the district, and then just a smattering of furniture and just equipment, which could be anything from furniture in our schools to anything that is needed by our facilities departments, our technology department, anything around the district. So it is not as robust this year as it was last year. I will make a statement that the allocation that we received for unrestricted capital funding is directly tied to our enrollment as well. So if enrollment shrinks, capital money shrinks as well. So that our enrollment certainly has a lot to do with capital. That's it. I've bored you enough. Any questions, or you want to hold them till the end?
Yes. Any questions for Mr. Hernandez? Mr. Gonzalez?
It's on board docs. Yeah, that presentation is available on the Bond Oversight board docs and on the governing board website board docs as well.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Norquista?
Thank you. Just go. I thought, okay. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez, for that presentation. I just wanted to clarify, back at the beginning, you mentioned, and I want to make sure I wrote this down right, we're looking at soliciting a new bond this coming April for $150 million?
Not a new bond.
Okay.
It's an issuance of the existing authority. So we were authorized $480 million. Our decision was to sell 3 different issuances. So 150 year first round, 150 million next round. we'll probably do either another 180 million or two $90 million issuances in the future. But yes, we're looking to put out a sale to investors in the spring.
Okay, so that would be under the umbrella of the current bond? And
Yes.
just increasing the amount, not a new bond. That's the difference.
Right, where it's within the same authority.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We don't issue all 480 million in one get-go.
Right.
Because we run into tax issues at that point.
Okay, so this 150 is coming out of the of the total
Yes,
480?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so at that point, we'll have another $180 million still available to sell after this next set of 150 million is sold.
okay, all right, thank you, I appreciate that clarification.
Mr. Hernandez, I'm not sure if this is a question for you or Dr. Carter. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but when can we expect to see a list of those projects that may not be happening?
That is a Dr. Carter question. I know that we're working on those. I will defer to her, though. That is in her department.
Thank you.
Any more questions for him?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to make a quick comment about the fields. We had a middle school flag football co-ed tournament at Pueblo High School this last Saturday, and it was an all-day event, and it was really nice to have our middle school kids be hosted by Pueblo. So I just wanted to put out what a great event.
Thank you.
And so, on the question you just asked, a list, we still have a ways to go because, as you guys know, there's 1,700 projects, and we are really emphasizing, like we said, the three: the HVAC, the security and safety, and one of the things that we're going to be presenting today about the classrooms from portables to permanent structures. The key, and I mentioned this at the governing board, I have to have accurate data. I can present a schedule right now, but it's not going to be accurate. So as you guys recall, there is the investment grade audit. You may hear us say IGA. That's where they're giving me the data so I can give you schedules and accurate numbers. We'll talk about in my presentation coming up how some of the information I initially got was not accurate. If you recall, at one point I thought we had all marquees done. At least everybody has a marquee. Well, then later I found out there was some missing. Same thing on HVAC. I thought I had did all the package units, the first set of projects we did. If you remember the Q1 in 2024, I did not. So guess who learned from that? And so that's why we're hired Veritech with IGA to provide us the data so we can have accurate numbers. Because what you don't want to do is try to plan 5 to 10 years with your base incorrect. So then it means everything after it's going to be incorrect. So I promise you, I want this as much as you do, but we're not there yet. We're getting there, but we're not there yet.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. Was that everything for item 4.1, or will you still?
No, now it's my turn.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. I thought it was super important that we all know where we're at. As I talked about in the beginning and the actual job description that was out there when I applied, it said it wanted a person that was a project management nerd. That would be me. But it also said it wanted somebody that's going to be accountable, that's going to be transparent, and it's going to be collaborative. So hopefully you guys have seen that that is the way that we have attempted to work in this bond. And so that's why I thought having, a overview of where we are right now. We're still very young in the bond, just a reminder. This is just what we just reported on was the first 18 months. So we only have how many more years to go? This is a 10-year bond. So it's okay that we don't have all the answers yet, long as we're trying to get to the point of getting those answers. But I think what we want is accuracy. I feel like so far, and you guys can let me know what you think, that we're really starting to establish trust. where people in the community are seeing these projects, they're seeing what we're doing, and so I don't want to do anything to damage that. So I want to make sure when I do say, okay, these are the next set of projects, I'm projecting the next 3 years, that it's best to our knowledge, accurate data. All right? So here we go. Take a ride with me. So we're going to go over the grounding, the project status, the bond communication, and key dates. We already know about this grounding. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but the only thing I would say is that third bullet, BOC and TUSD are partners and advocates. That's the way I feel, and that's where I feel like we're really bonding and doing more of that. I want to express my gratitude to many of you that have gone to these actual meetings and bond visits with me. It's very, I think it's very valuable to have you there at the meetings with me. Therefore, you can kind of see what the sausage looks like. When you guys see us and these projects, they're complete, that's what you see out front. But there's a lot of sausage being made, meaning there's a lot of decisions, a lot of collaborations, a lot of meetings to make this happen. We've done over 300 projects in 18 months, $60 million. That's, I don't know, from the world I come from, that's a lot. I'm just saying. And I do want to mention before we go on that TUSD with the bond is on the national map from a project management standpoint. I was fortunate to represent us, what we're doing at the Smart Sheets Engage conference. It's a national conference, and explain to them how we're tracking projects, how we're using Smart Sheets to give you guys reports, and how we're using that as an item of discussion. And also they saw our dashboard. So I told them, I really want you to like, follow, and share the bond Facebook page. I'm trying to go viral. But anyway, we're still at 169 or something. Anyway, okay. I am just gonna highlight, you guys are getting the red light, green light, yellow light status report. So if there is a specific project you want to ask me about, you can absolutely do so. This is just some highlights. As you know, we're still doing the domestic water line at Sabino. That was one of the situations that we learned from with not getting from the state fire marshal our permit or get the approval. So it's part of the plan now for this not to be done until the spring. So I'm okay with that, as long as the principal and we're doing is minimal interruption to the classroom and students. That's just a reality. And I did tell you guys that when we're doing these multi-million-dollar projects, having things that you can't necessarily plan for is going to happen. But we have already started, Damon and I, on making sure for this next 6 of domestic water lines, getting all our permits and all the things that need to be outside of our purview to get that started early. So we are learning from that. The HVAC kitchen appliances, I just got an email while I was sitting there saying that I was going to tell you that all the appliances were going to be installed by the end of this week, but they have another one that's going to be delayed. So it's so real what Ricky was saying with materials and things being delayed. So that's something we're really trying to plan for as well. But that's a reality of where we are. We still continue security gates and fencing, parking lots and pavement, kind of like what Ricky said. That was 2 of the sites we're waiting on, trying to get some adjacent ways money. It's that balancing act of waiting and deciding to go ahead and use some of the bond funds or all. So that's a dual funded project. Security window film. We did a check-in today. We have, I believe, 4 sites that are outstanding. It's 99% complete. I'm confident, and we do have someone from Safe Haven here today. Raise your hand, Bo. As you recall, he came to us back, I think it was October, November last year, and here we are now, have done over about 43 or so schools, and so we just have that last 4 to go. So super excited about that, and we're gonna propose a second part of that today. We're still waiting on getting the cybersecurity information from the various vendors, so we're on hold on that right now, and that's why you don't see it on the sheet at all, really. The Carrillo rainwater, I was meaning to ask, are they good after all this rain? Because I thought about dropping in and say, did it do what we thought it was going to do? So that's 99% complete. And the Mission View curtains, we got that installed. So that was just super exciting. So now we're going to have the hard talks. And I've kind of already, Ricky has talked to you about where we are. Can you bring the well? So several months ago, we, and you know you're going to have to go, and I broke it more since the last time. It's so small. I made mention that the bond is not a, and my will is broken, indicative of something, right? So I just really want to remind you guys that price estimates from the bond book, they're really almost 4 years old, right? Because it takes time, you do your evaluation and then you present it, and we're good. So all that has to happen, and in doing this, and so I'm so much more informed than I was when I started, 18 months ago. In the bond book, there's some very broad strokes, and that was the best way I could paint that. Oh, no pun intended. Is that some of the things that are on the project list, schools don't need. Some of the things was missing that they do need. I understand why that happens, because when you're developing a bond, first of all, it takes time. And I know that that was something that was done hurriedly because, we had to get it out to the voters. But now, 18 months later, I'm trying to implement the bond as much as possible to fidelity. But a lot of considerations are in there, especially when they get a broad stroke. And you guys have been with me at some of these bond visits. They're asking, well, why am I getting that? Well, I really need that kind of thing. So I do want to mention that. This is a huge one, and Ricky touched on this. Our external environment. Tariffs, inflation, price fluctuations. We are really seeing that a lot. Plus with the other two things up top, if you can imagine. So you guys are seeing the picture that I'm painting. Now and every time I go to a school, and I love going to bond visits. I really like seeing the kiddos. It reminds me of why I'm here, and it reminds us why the bond is so important. I see that there are so many needs, and I tell every time, I wish that I could be like, now I'm getting ready to age myself, but just bear with me, especially you, Owen, just bear with me. I wish I could be like, what is it, Dream Genie, you can take your nose, or you could do this and everything can just magically appear. Or it could be all right. I can't do that. I can't. And that's more of the reality that the bond is a pie, because if I'm giving more to your school, somebody's getting less. That $480 million is not moving. So just like you were asking Ricky, Peter about, the 150, that's just distributing the 480 million we have. You know, it's just getting another portion of that allocation. So I just want to keep you guys in mind, keep it in mind. I would love, and I'm sure we all would love to do all the various requests, but if we do, there's no way we're going to get this done. And even with dropping down to over 1,700 projects, to get that done with price estimates that are old, that some were low, some were missing, tariffs, inflation, fluctuations, unplanned projects, you see where I'm going? Okay. Then on top of that, we have labor shortages. I need to go back and look, but I did kind of Google that, and that is a problem nationwide. It's not just here, it's everywhere. On top of the last thing, and I know this seems like very morbid and I'm downer. You guys know I'm not a downer, but I got to say it. Our last bond was over 20 years ago. So because of all this delayed facilities maintenance, it's impacting us. Even though it may not be my project specifically, there are prerequisites to be able to do projects that I can't do because our infrastructure is ailing. I'll give you an example. We had the call with Safe Haven because I'm very excited to get, that project with the security film done. Well, we knew we had to replace glass. Remember I came to you guys and told you we're going to have to replace. We didn't know that we had to replace, was it 2,400 and something panes? 2,200 panes of glass. So you wonder why we're behind? Because that has to be done before we can do our piece. So the reality that I want to bring to you today and for us to consider and to think about as we, continue on is that all the projects are not going to get done. And our money is really low. We need to start considering even another bond. So these are just things I'm putting, out there because that's where we are. Now, it doesn't mean we're not going to do a lot of good work. It doesn't mean that it's going to slow us down. It just means that we've got to be strategic. We got to prioritize, and we have to all be on the same page as we move forward. So I'm going to pause right there because I know that's heavy. Any questions on that part? This is my fan. Is there a question on there? Somebody asking on the virtual? I heard something.
I don't see anything.
No? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to continue. But I did want to, and I told you guys I would always be upfront with you, and I am. All right. We'll go to the next thing. Mission view. Let's get to happiness. So I wanted you guys to see a before and after. So on the left side was the before, if you guys can kind of see the yellow. But I guess this doesn't really show as much as it does on just if you guys were looking on your screen. But those are some beautiful, purple, rich curtains. And we were so glad to do that project for them. We are out there communicating. And I forgot at the Choya bond visit to get the selfie. So that's why it's just his picture. But we have already met with Choya and also Gridley since the last time we talked to you. And then we also went to Palo Verde. And so you can see that we're going full force. Nowadays, I'm having to ask the principal, make sure you have a conference room because we have governing board members coming, we have BOC members coming. I'm also tapping on my colleagues like Joe to come from safety. Of course, Damon's always coming with me, but other departments. So everybody can see up close and personal what's happening at the schools. And that's a joy for us too. So just wanted to let you know we're out there. So now we want to do more celebrations. Guys, we've been recognized. So here we go.
Honor organizations that are leading by example, investing in a cleaner, more sustainable future. Our Net Zero Hero Awards honor organizations that are leading by example, investing in a cleaner, more sustainable future, and helping us reach our aspirational goal of net zero carbon emissions by 2050. This year, we're proud to recognize Tucson Unified School District with our Educational Partner Award, not just for teaching sustainability, but for living it. In 2023, the district earned high marks for its partnership with us. The district has upgraded nearly 90% of its schools to LED lighting through our school's energy efficiency program. These retrofits don't just save energy, they brighten classrooms, creating a healthier, more vibrant learning environment for students and teachers alike. But TUSD didn't stop at lighting the way. Knowing that heating and cooling are the biggest energy expenses for most commercial buildings, the district worked with TEP to modernize HVAC systems in key schools, reducing maintenance costs, improving comfort, and trimming energy use. And with solar panels powering 80 schools, TUSD is turning rooftops into real-world lessons in clean energy, lowering operational costs while raising awareness about renewable solutions. The district is also doing its homework on long-term sustainability, developing a climate action and sustainability plan, which is anticipated in 2027. And through our virtual commissioning program, TUSD tapped into expert insights to uncover even more energy-saving opportunities. And they didn't stop there. They're revving into a cleaner energy future with new electric school buses that will help improve air quality, reduce noise, and reduce lifetime maintenance costs.
We're just absolutely excited about getting the TEP Hero Award. It means so much to us to be able to have a sustainable environment for our students, for our kids, for our community. Also, we believe in energy efficiency. It's going to be cost savings throughout the district.
By integrating sustainability into its operations and curriculum, TUSD is helping students learn that every choice, from the classroom to the community, can shape a brighter future. Congratulations, TUSD, and thank you for being a model of environmental stewardship and educational leadership. You are showing us all how to make sustainability part of the lesson plan.
All right. And I do want to say we are on
Who are you
target.
looking for?
William Shakespeare.
So we are on target to also get our EV buses pilot done by the end of the year, which is part of getting all the rebates and all that good stuff. So we're on target. Something happened.
Yeah, 1 sec.
All right. So lastly, I'm going to just mention I think we just keep doing what we're doing, and it'll be more to come on how we're going to reprioritize projects and where various things I would propose, but we're going to work as a team to do that. All right, and Facebook, on Instagram, you guys know about, this is our last meeting for the year, so we'll come back. Q3 is going to start on January 1st, and then our next Bond Oversight Committee is January 15th. All right. So that... Now, I'll pause for questions. Otherwise, that would be the end of that bond.
I have a quick one.
Yeah.
So if we have $480 million and we put it in real dollars today, what is your calculation on that, Ricky?
I haven't done the calculation, but it's,
all right.
I mean, with the fact that you've got about, we're hovering around 5% inflation, I mean, just right there, I mean, I
think that'd be helpful to see like how much we've lost in purchasing power. Yeah, okay.
That's a good question. Any other questions?
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'm wondering when you might have for us at least a preliminary list of those recommended projects that you feel are going to be placed on the back burner or lower priority, or they may not get done at all.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. At least the original plan was to get the IGA to give me the other list and cost for the majority of the projects. So I'm hoping in at least March to give you the list of what we're doing and then what may not be done, and then we can work together as a team to see, you know, how that aligns. But I can give you the recommendation in the spring.
You said March?
Yes, in the spring. And I'll let you know if I can't meet that date. But a lot depends on, like I said, getting that data. And we kind of had delayed. I was going to present that today to get a vote, but it'll be in January so we can get the next set of IGA projects, because they're helping me by telling us, okay, these are the projects based on the assets that need to be done next, or that they recommend that needs to happen.
Yeah, I understand it's going to take some time, but the sooner we can get it, I think,
Oh,
the
absolutely.
better we can plan ahead.
I agree.
I just want to interrupt. If we can please speak into the microphone, because people on Zoom are having a little bit of trouble hearing.
Any other questions, Ms. Coleman?
Yes, this is probably a Ricky question. You mentioned the sale of Carson, and I live in that area. I've had a number of homeowners that are backed up to Carson ask me, are there going to be public meetings? Will they have any input, because they're afraid of maybe high-density housing going in, and they'd like to be part of the conversation, basically.
So, very limited, because technically it's not a topic on the agenda, but at some point there will be hearings by the developer.
Okay.
Yeah, the school district at this point is in a purchase and sale.
That you have a developer
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
already
The buyer is the developer,
Right.
basically.
identified.
Yeah.
Okay, that helps. Thanks.
Thank you. So if there's no other further questions, anyone on Zoom? So I go ahead and motion to approve all current bond project updates as presented. Second by Ms. Arvizu. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain. Motion carries. Moving on to item 4.02, approval of Bond Oversight Committee meeting minutes for October 16, 2025. If anybody
Motion to
needs time to review them? Oh. Motion by Ms. Arvizu,
I second.
second by Mr. Anthony. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on now. Study action item 5.01, approval to recommend to the governing board the construction of a new building at Davis Romero Bilingual Elementary Magnet School. Dr. Carter?
Yes, thank you again. We can get that presentation. So these are some exciting projects to be able to remove some of these portables to permanent structures. So, and we do have some representation from the school. We have the regional assistant superintendent, Mark. And then, also we also have the principal, Ms. Rose. Okay. That's always happening, right? When you step out, right? Okay, the presentation. So you guys had copies of that. Hopefully you looked through it, correct? The main thing, the mission, of course, we're trying to construct new buildings to host a classroom space for the prestigious mariachi program, and additional 3 to 6 classrooms for educational space. You saw the background. I'm not going to go over all that, but definitely looking at the growing enrollment demand at Davis Romero and needing more classroom space and space to host their mariachi program. So the space is an issue, and that is, if we have more students, we can have more revenue too, because you know how students help with the revenue. We also have difficulties for students to locate teachers due to frequent movement. Just really need to improve the atmosphere and space for our students. So there's 3 options. Hopefully you guys looked at it. It has option 1, 2, and 3. I'm not gonna go through all of this very detailed, but you had the plans. Option 1, where it's the mariachi only, and you see that in the blue. This is just another view of that for option 1. The floor plan. Then we have site plan option 2. And it's to have the 3 classrooms and mariachi. So it's a bigger space. You can see that on there. That's just a different view of option 2. And this is the floor plan for option 2. So the main thing is you're going to have the classrooms and you're going to have the mariachi. And I do want to highlight that's what I'm going to be recommending is option 2. And then you have option 3, which is the 6 classrooms. But what to note is you're going to have a first floor and second floor for option 3. And here's another view of it. I do want to also just recognize the engineers and architects, and they've done a great job. I thought it's beautiful what we're proposing. The first floor plan for option 3. We have the second floor plan for option 3, second floor. And then here's a shot of the east elevation, the north elevation, really just highlighting the mariachi program and just the space. And I'm really excited about the classroom space. It shows the west elevation, south, and then here's the mariachi perspective. And I really love the openness of it and how you can, multi-purpose to be able to have performances, etc. The courtyard, beautiful space. And then how they're going up the stairs. I mean, I think this would be just a great, these things, addition to the school. Interior mariachi room perspective, if you guys can see that. And this is just taking some of those pieces. My understanding is they're taking a lot of the things that were in one of the portables and being able to showcase it, correct? And then the interior classroom perspective, which is, the purpose of the bond is really that to have that classroom space from the portable. So here's here is a cost. So option 1 is to demolish the portables, the basketball court to remain as is, and then you have the mariachi building only, and that's the cost, $3.6 million. Option 2, same thing, demolish the portables, relocate the basketball court. Basically, the thing is you're adding the 3 new classrooms, and that's $5.2 million. And option 3, it's relocate and all that too, but it's a 2-story. Remember the 2-story, and it's 6 classrooms for a total of $7.4 million. And this is really what I want to get to, is the cost. So my recommendation, our recommendation is option 2. As we talked about before, the bond book only shows $975,000. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Okay. We are committed, the bond to provide the portable to permanent learning spaces. We do want to remove those portables. We do want to provide learning spaces. I would love to do 3, but where we are right now, 2 is what we feel like we can do. And even in doing that, I'm going to have to take money. Remember that pie thing? I'm having to move money, take money away. I do have some money that we're able to use for CTE that they're not using, about $2 million that I can go towards that. And we talked about where would that other money come from? Well, it's a hard decision, but building renovations. So pretty much for each school, they have about $225,000 for building renovations. I would love for everybody to keep that. But if I'm getting projects that are more than what's said for whatever reason, regardless of why it's $975,000, I have to pull that money somewhere. So my proposal is I would pull $2,261,857 for the general building renovations. So that means that the overall building renovations for all the schools is going to be less. That's the way that works. I am not comfortable with doing more than that. If you so choose to take the option 3 recommendation, then we're going to have to find another $2.1 million. And it really should come from that school. To be fair, because I'm pulling money from everybody already. But that's the reality we're in. So that's what it means. So when I have the bond book, that's what the bond book says. And then bond projects is other ones from that pie that we have to take money away from. So I'll pause for a second. Do anybody have questions on that in general?
Well, yeah, I guess there's a lot here. Well,
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of the arts. I was a professional musician, toured the world, played on hundreds of records. Like I'm a firm believer in the arts. When I'm looking at this project, I see this is for mariachi. I want to know, is it going to be for more than that? And one of the concerns I had by looking at when I was just looking at the blueprints is that, you have a photo of a piano, but there's no space to store instruments from the stage. I see steps going down from the stage. So when I see that as a former person who's went to music school, moving pianos and gear on and off stage is a very big deal. When I see stairs and I don't see storage at the same level. Yeah, I'm just curious when I see something like that, if it's fully thought through, that it can be really multi-purpose, because you can't get a piano on stage if there's stairs, right?
Correct, and great question, and it is multi-purpose. Let me get to that option only.
I think that shows
So
it, yeah.
when you look at that piece, no. Yeah, it has that piece here.
Yeah.
Is a stage. That's the walk-off area. This area in here is the area for the storage.
Yeah.
It's that whole piece. So the goal there is to, along the walls, place those locker areas for all your instruments, as well as down here on the bottom wall and here. That's why we have double doors coming in there. Initially, we were looking at a 3.0 door, but to accommodate pianos, you need it much wider.
Yeah.
So you can put equipment in there.
Yeah, I guess my concern is that there's stairs to and from the stage, and like how are you gonna, if you want to take a piano off stage because you want a mariachi group, or if you want to have a bigger thing where there's no piano, I'm just thinking ahead, like, what are you gonna do? Right?
So you have stairs here and a ramp for exactly that.
Oh, okay. I see
The ramp is in the back.
I didn't see the ramp.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be hard to see.
Great question. No, it's a good question.
You want me to just go?
Go ahead, Ms. Bell.
So you said enrollment was increasing, but what I see in these projections of enrollment is that it's decreasing. And in the next, 5 years, it's going to go down quite a bit. So we're investing. I'd like to understand what that.
So in the last 3 years, Davis has had a waiting list of anywhere between 60 and 80 kindergartners that we cannot enroll. So if they have the additional classroom space, their enrollment will increase just because that wait list will essentially be wiped away.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Are those portables currently being used as a classroom or for mariachi? What are those portables that are replaced?
Both. Yeah, they're being used for both. So either way, we currently do not have the capacity to enroll the kids in the wait list for the magnet enrollment. It's a very, very popular school for every community in Tucson, and yeah, so that's how we'll derive additional enrollment, which will be more ADM, which makes me very happy.
Hey, Ricky, on the enrollment, you're looking at the option 3. I know it's more money, but would the projected enrollment mandate more classrooms in the future, or are we happy with, because I'm looking at 3 classrooms, you're looking at what, 50, 60 students? And
Yeah.
you say the wait list is how much?
The wait list has fluctuated over the last 3 years, anywhere between 60 and 80. For this year, it's about 71 kindergartners that have been waiting.
I know it's a lot more money, but if we're projecting that to keep growing based on that, is it something that we should discuss about adding that third option to get the extra classrooms to have room for growth, or has that been thought through?
So we did talk through that, about making it a 2-story building and adding the additional classrooms. Because of what Dr. Carter mentioned and the ability to find that additional 1.2, that's the difficulty, right? It would have to come from the school, and the school would have to essentially figure out, like, what are we giving up for 3 more classrooms? So one of the things that we talked about is that the building is going to be set up in such a way that either through another bond or through a future investment, we can then build on top of that building. So it's going to be ready-made for more classrooms in the future, but at least we address the issue, the need now.
Yeah, the expandable part's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Bill Sanders?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was wondering how many teachers are sharing classrooms right now, and like what is their classroom need currently?
You don't.
You said none?
None are
Okay.
sharing.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other question? Mr. Gonzalez?
Yeah, Mr. Hernandez, you mentioned that there's a waiting list.
Yes.
You're at 80% capacity now at the school, correct?
80%
That's what your
capacity?
report says.
Yeah.
You're at 80%. And your enrollment is going down. At least you're projecting a decline in enrollment.
The decline in enrollment is all grades, though. It's not just, so those are incoming kindergartners that will generally remain through the 5th grade. So if those enroll and we continue to are able to enroll kindergartners, then that increase will continue to flow through the remaining, lower elementary and upper elementary grades as we continue. And to Red's comment is that we know that because of that, eventually we will need to essentially build another set of classrooms at Davis. It's declined because unfortunately we don't have the capacity to put kids in there.
Well, I don't quite understand how that works because in your declining enrollment projection, in 2930, you're still down 213 students total. That's what, 70 students less than what you have now.
Yeah,
That's a projection.
but that's based on what we know today, right? That's based on the assumption that the school remains at the current size. Now, will there be potential for decline that waiting list may shrink for below what it's been over the last 3 years? Absolutely, because there are population, there are external factors, population being one of them, that will affect the future enrollment of not just Davis, but every school, right? But right now what we have is we have a demand for that school and we can't meet that demand. And so 80 students at $5,000 a student is, it's like $4 million at least.
I have a
Ms. Albisto is next. Mr. Norquist?
Yeah, can we just put the graphic up that was sent out? That's my only request, so we can actually look at the graphic that was sent about the enrollment projections, so that we can all see what we're talking about.
Okay, thank you.
I I just have a question about the enrollment projections. The enrollment projections, are they based upon neighborhood enrollment, or do they include the open enrollment application? Or like, are these projections just based upon neighborhood entry, or they're included with the open enrollment?
They're included with the owner because it's a magnet school.
Right.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, and Ms. Carrion can be, better advocate for that than I could, but the enrollment comes from all parts of Tucson. It's, Davis, I mean, it has Barrio Anita behind it, but it doesn't necessarily, Barrio Anita doesn't necessarily feed the enrollment at Davis.
Well, Madam Chair, I'm not convinced, based on your enrollment projections and your numbers now, that you need more classrooms. I'm just not convinced based on the information you're giving us here. I may be missing something here, I don't know, but your option 2 would include 3 additional classrooms, is that correct?
Yeah, 3 classrooms in Mariachi.
And yet in your capacity report, you're showing some zero use in some of these classrooms. I think you're showing 1, 2, 3, 3 classrooms that are not in full capacity. I guess that's your 20% from your 80 that you're saying you're at capacity now. How many students would you be able to bring in if you went to 100% capacity?
If we went to 100% capacity, where does he have? Do you have the capacity? I don't, this doesn't.
In other words, Mr. Hernandez, it doesn't make sense to me that you're at 80% capacity, you're not at 100% capacity, yet you're not enrolling anybody.
We can't enroll anybody. The thing is that this is a magnet school. These kids come. We're generally not getting kids in lower elementary, first and second, and upper elementary, 3rd through 5th. That tends to be the lower number of kids. What we have is kindergartners. We don't have space for kindergartners. And kindergartners, the minimum square footage for kindergartners is not the same for a 5th grader. So that's one of the reasons. It's declining because this is what we know today. This does not include waitlist kids. This includes births of kids and the trend data that we see based on enrollment at the school. But magnet applications, I mean, considering that the magnet coordinator or that the enrollment coordinator for the district works for me, I mean, she's telling me 72 kids this year. And they won't, and by and large, they may go to another TUSD school, but because they really want to go to Davis, if they can't get in, they probably will go somewhere else. And so that contributes to the declining enrollment, right? Especially, our magnet rules do allow us, siblings, right? So if you've got a brother and sister in there, you get priority to get into Davis. But if this is, if you're a first son and daughter of a family who wants to go to Davis, the likelihood of you getting in at kindergarten is pretty small because we just can't fit more kindergartners.
To your point, Mr. Gonzalez, let me just add to what you're saying too, because I'll throw it the total other direction and say, I'm looking at this and I see for the last 5 years, we're looking from 1920 to 24-25, pretty steady enrollment. There's no, we're fluctuating between 280 and 313 in the last 5 years. That's pretty steady enrollment. And so my question isn't about capacity at the school. It is, and as a member of the Tucson community with kids, I know how hard it is to get into Davis. Friends have tried to get into Davis. What people working with the enrollment staff, I know how many people try to get into Davis. My question to this is, why are we projecting a decrease? When we're looking at pretty standard baseline to 80% capacity, and when we're talking about putting schools to 100% capacity, I don't think that serves the students well. I don't think that serves the teachers well. I don't think that serves a really old building really well. And so to have everybody be at 100% capacity, I think that there's minimal fluctuations in that. But my question would really be, why are we projecting a decrease when we're looking at years of history of steady enrollment that technically the district controls?
And I agree with you. I
Right?
agree with you on that. I see the numbers here in the chart that you have. And that was one of the reasons I'm questioning the projection. It seems to me that you have stability at Davis in terms of enrollment. The capacity at 80% is pretty darn good. But then you're projecting in the next 5 years a decline of more than 80 students.
I will.
Yet you have a
Yeah.
you have a waiting list.
Right. I will tell you 80% of a capacity is capacity. Because when you think about it, the square footage of a school is not all classrooms, right? So we generally only figure the square footage of a school is X. The square footage available for classrooms is X times 80%.
Yeah, but let's not confuse the issue here. We're not talking about what you have in terms of footage in the entire school. Now we're talking about a new building.
Right,
So
but
we're
you're
looking at
asking me
that
about like it's at 80%
specifically right
capacity. The school is only able to accommodate 80% capacity because we can't put kids in a janitor's closet, right? They land in the cafeteria for a reason.
Well, I agree with Ms. Arvizo. You may need more classrooms than you're projecting in 3. I mean, in option 2.
And I will tell you, this was put by the planning department, right? This is based on how they run calculations for every single one of our schools. I can tell you the facts are, we have a waiting list of kindergartners that tops at least 3 classrooms. Our schools are always calculated at 80% square footage use for the building because not every part of that square footage is available for instruction, right? And we have a high demand, particularly outside of the classrooms, for their mariachi program. And so this is kind of what we worked on with the school, and Ms. Carrion is going to kick me if I don't get out of the way.
Can I just ask a
So-
question too before you go on?
If I can ask one question. By demolishing the portables, how many classrooms are you losing, and is it an even trade to the 3 new ones? Because we got to look at that, what we're losing for classroom rise, because we're
No,
just demolishing the portables, right?
Correct, so it's, the portables, we're losing 1 classroom and we're adding 3, so basically you're adding 2 additional classrooms.
And then I do want to, just for more clarifying information, we have the principal here. Because the question, just if you're looking at black and white, definitely where it shows 0, she wants to tell you what classrooms are, some of them not even classrooms, they're showing 0. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing wonderful. Quick, I was put on the spot, okay. Quickly, on number 9 room, where it's 9 on the map, that room is a gifted and talented classroom where we have our GATE students. So they work with Mr. Chuk in that room. Then room 10 is an art room where Ms. Valencia does art. And these are very important for us because they're part of our especialistas schedule, okay? And then if you look at the middle room that's red and you have 2 rooms side by side, that is the kinder station room, which is your learning stations, okay? It's a very small, you couldn't fit a classroom in there, okay? So they utilize it that way. Then in the front, you have storage and a custodial closet. And then there's a little office, and that is for our extended day coordinator because the extended day program at our school is big. We have about 200 students that attend extended day. So that's what the building is being used to capacity. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Can I ask a couple questions that,
I'd like to address.
I mean, I kind of hear all this too.
The other questions before.
well, we do have a whole bunch of other items, so maybe like 2 more questions and we have to keep going. Now, if you guys want us to come back with a list of questions, we definitely can do and give you answers. I think.
Ms. Bell?
Yeah, I just have a couple. So, what's the timeline for this project to start and end?
So, as soon as whenever you guys, if you approve, then it goes to the governing board, so we gotta wait for that. There's no more, so it'd be sometime in December, and then as soon as that happens, we're ready to get going, because we've been working on it, because you guys approved that part a long time ago. So we're ready to get going. We wouldn't actually have students in the new structure until 27, 28. Yep. One
Okay.
more, and then
Well, my next question is, to me, this is hard to evaluate because it's one school, and I know there's other schools out there with waiting lists and other issues and things they want. So if we move this money and say, okay, great, we have this extra money, we're gonna do this, then in 2 months, you come back because this school over here now needs, it's hard. I feel like we're doing this sort of in a vacuum, and I don't
Okay.
wanna move money
Yeah,
when other schools are gonna do the same thing.
Yeah. The voters specifically approved Davis, Rincon UHS, Lineweaver, Hughes, Tucson Highs V Building, and Bloom. So it's not like, what we're shuffling is the fact that the voters were told $975,000 in 2023. It cost us $4.6 million today. So we're in the rob Peter to pay Paul situation, right? But the schools that I mentioned are the ones that were targeted for some sort of additional learning space in some form. One of the reasons that Tucson High was targeted was because they've got a V building that's dilapidated, right? Davis has a waiting list. Rincon UHS is at 120% capacity of their plant space, right? In addition to having the really ugly band room. Hughes also needs space. I know Lineweaver has gate, and I don't know if they have a waiting list. I can't really speak about Bloom necessarily. I don't know if they need more space because they're not necessarily a growing school. So that certainly could change at Bloom. But I can tell you that the other ones were specifically put in the voter pamphlet and disclosed to the voters at the time that the ballot issue was put out.
And I agree, and I appreciate that information, and I fully support the expansion of these schools, but it really is a concern knowing we're going to have to cut some projects, not knowing what those projects are going to be.
So what we focused on in terms of what projects is we've focused on domestic water lines and sewer replacements. That's really where the brunt, because we know for a fact we're not going to be able to replace water lines and sewers at every single campus. It's just not going to happen. The amount of time that it takes, the amount of closures that it's happened. I mean, we're doing 6 this summer.
Yeah.
And we've done 4.
We've done 4,
And we've-
to do 76.
And we've got 76 of them. So what we're trying to do is affect areas that are going to have the least amount of impact on specifically students. Now, I get domestic water line and sewer lines can have that effect, but what we're trying to do is accommodate instructional space versus operational issues. It is a difficult situation. This is exactly why the Bond Oversight Committee was formed, is if ultimately what you're looking for is this does not feel comfortable, that is entirely your decision to make, and we will take that recommendation to the governing board as whatever it is that you want us to do. Because you're right, that shuffle is tough.
And does the district have plans for addressing these water lines? Or, I mean, we heard from the principal, 2 meetings ago with the orange water. Do we have other schools with orange water that?
I don't know. We've done a district-wide testing for lead, for example, and we've addressed those pieces. Rincon was a big issue. Tucson High was another big issue because of the age. Sabino was the one with the orange water. But we have addressed those to the capacity that we can. Some of those can go to school facilities division, especially if we find that there is, that there's a health hazard in particular. We've tested for those hazards at this point, and we've mitigated as much of them as we can within the existing capacity that we have so that we don't have to affect the bond.
And that is part of the IGA. Again, when I keep telling you guys about the data, that's one of the things that we are having them check the water line so we can prioritize the most important ones first.
Okay, well, thank you for this information. I think, they've answered quite a bit of questions. I'm comfortable taking a vote today. I'm not sure the rest of you, if this is a study action item. So do you all want to go ahead and take a vote on this?
Madam Chair, I'm not comfortable taking a vote right now because there are other questions related to the shortfall in the budget that I think we need to discuss. And just a comment, Dr. Carter, please don't try to limit our conversations here and our discussions.
I
know we're
apologize.
on a timeline here, but I think some of us are willing to stay a little bit longer if we have to. This is a very, very important subject here.
Oh, I
And I
agree.
don't want you trying to limit our conversations and our discussions and the questions that we have to be answered, because for some of them, there are no answers at this point.
Okay, in her defense, Mr. Gonzalez, though, we do need to be mindful that some of our BOC members need to leave right at 3 o'clock. We do have other things, items on the agenda. We haven't yet heard from Rincon University. So we do need to I respect the questions.
And I understand that
and that is
perfectly.
why I'm speaking, Mr. Gonzalez. We are given the agenda with plenty of notice. We can form our questions, submit them to Dr. Carter prior to, so she can come prepared to our meetings. So I respect her decision for us to move on. Either we can take a vote, or we can move this forward for the agenda for next month, or January.
I'd make a motion that we table this till next meeting.
Mr. Albizu?
I would just make a comment before we take a vote on anything, is that, sorry, is this on? Is the more we delay any choice we make, the more expensive it becomes. The longer we delay any choices that we make, whether they're for or against any project, the less enrollment that this district can have. I think that there's huge implications to that. And I personally would move forward with a vote with this today, with the hesitation of future approvals for projects at Davis, because this one project exceeds their entire bond allocation from the get-go. I do think this is a necessity at their school. I do think it'll generate revenue for our district and keep that school viable, because there is a point of diminishing returns. And I don't think, to your guys' point, that 6 classrooms are necessary at this point. But we say 10 years for this project, but like we're 20% of the way in, you guys. Like time is flying, and these huge projects takes a really, really long time. So if we motion to move this today, I would be in favor of voting for it.
Was that a motion, Ms. Arbizu?
There's already a motion on the table for Mr. Gonzalez.
Mr. Norquist?
I have a question. Is it possible to split this item? I'm guessing that there's more general agreement about the mariachi room, and more of the controversy has to do with the classrooms. Could we vote on the mariachi room today and
It's
leave
a
the
complete
classroom
project.
discussion?
Unfortunately, it's a complete project. We can't split it.
Okay.
So if there's a motion on the table, I'm not sure
sorry,
who
but
was that
under
motion.
Robert's Rules of Order, you can't split a vote.
Excuse me?
Under Robert's Rules of Order, you can't split a vote.
Well, there's 3 options that we could be voting on, and the first option is just the mariachi room. The second option is what they're asking us to vote on today, include the classrooms, or the third option. So there's 3 choices that we have to make today. It's not necessarily split per se.
So you have a motion on the floor,
Right.
and so it either needs to be seconded or it dies for lack of a second. So that's the next action you have right now.
Who was, I didn't catch who was the motion by. Was that you,
Mr. Gonzalez.
Mr. Gonzalez, motion to table the item.
In the form of discussion to Mrs. Arvizo's commentary, to delay this project for 3 months is not going to impact the start of the project to begin with, or else you wouldn't be here so early with it.
We're here early because I
Point
need
of
to sell
order.
money.
Unless there's a second, there's no discussion.
I need to buy money for you guys. So
Unless
if I don't
there's a
have that
second,
project
there's
as
no
part of my
discussion.
schedule, I can't tell the investors that we're building anything.
Madam Chair, for the sake of moving forward,
It just failed.
I'll withdraw my motion.
I'll put forward a motion to approve option 2 as presented by Dr. Carter.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Arvizu, seconded by Ms. Coleman. Ms. Barboa, can we please do a roll call vote?
Jeffrey Anthony,
Yes.
Catherine Arvizu,
Yes.
Don Bell,
Yes.
Owen Bro Sanders,
Yes.
Cindy Coleman,
Yes.
Lindsay Escalona,
Yes.
Luis Gonzalez,
Abstain?
Red Morrow,
Yes.
Raghu Nandan,
Yes.
Peter Norquist,
Abstain?
Erica Miranda Carter.
Yes. Motion passes with 2 abstain, Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Norquist. Thank you all. Thank you, Ricky.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Anthony, 451 million.
Okay, thank you.
We've lost about $39 million in value, $29 million in value.
Thank you.
thank you for that information. So moving on now to item 5.02, approval to recommend to the governing board the construction of a new building at Rincon University High School. Dr. Carter.
All right, thank you. So if we can get the next presentation. All right, so the last portable permanent structure for today is Rincon, and we do have the 2 principals, Rincon and University, here as well. All right, so you guys already know the agenda, you know the mission, and this is proposed construction to the campus to the need to replace 8 portable classrooms and a portable sanitary facility with permanent structure. Also, there is a need, or what we want to move forward is creating a dedicated room for the band, practice with clearings for the color guards and flag throwing, and to give the orchestra space design for the music class. And then this also includes the portable relocation and temporary spaces for the portables. So what is the need? We want to create a learning space that makes students feel welcome and valued. We need to update outdated facilities. We want to create and draw for one of Tucson's most premier fine arts programs, give the orchestra a place that is intended for music class and is not shared, and create the space for the color guards to rehearse. I did want to just note here where it talked about from the principals about RUHS is one of the not only schools currently operating over building capacity. It talks about their students, the square footage, and it has a 6-year average of functioning 10% over the capacity. I did want to note in the red where the bond 2023 plan was to have permanent structure built to replace the portables to improve the learning environment for the Curtin students. So of course it's impacting Rincon High and University High. You guys can see the pictures. I think something's going on. Okay, sorry on that. The pictures, and I know you guys had a chance to go over this. The site plan is to well establish the dense high school campus. The team explored different options, and we concluded that the current portable location was the best suited for the new classrooms. And the new classroom building addition entry would be conveniently located to connect the addition to the larger 3-story existing classroom building while maintaining the fire lane across the center of the school. So this is option 1. As you can see that it would be for the 8 classrooms and the student group restrooms and a dedicated staff restroom. As the benefits is permanent construction, removing 8 portable classrooms and having a permanent construction, removing portable restrooms. Option 2 is going to be the option that the bond is recommending. It's the same thing, but it's adding the band room and supporting space. And the cost just for the construction is for the construction is $7,774,000. And then option 3 is the same as option 2, but the major difference is it has the 2 staff offices. And here's some of the portables, so you can see conditions of the portable space. So just a picture. And so here it's talking about the relocation of the portables. We are recommending option B. I removed option A. The 2 portables relocated to a temporary location north of the football field, and the other 2 permanent replaces the older portables at the southeast portion of the campus. And this is really what I wanted to get to, is the cost matrix. So in the bond book, it's $2.6 million that's allocated. For the recommendation number 2, which is what we're proposing, and we've already got this approved, they have $1,040,000 with CTE that we can move towards the cost. So if we do that, then I only have to find $5.2 million. We do need to include making sure we have the portable relocation, so that's why the cost is different than what the initial cost that you saw. Similarly, as I did before, my proposal with Davis is I could take money from the building renovations to make up that difference of that $5.2 million. So that's how I would make up the difference. If the committee so chose to do option 3, which I am not in favor of, because originally the intent of the bond was not for administrative offices, it was for students, then any of the money over that $5.2 million would have to come from the school. So they would have to look at their projects that's on their list, and then they would have to take money from there. So I can pause there for questions. Yes.
So where does the band rehearse now?
Now, I don't know all these kind of questions.
In a
so.
tiny band room and outside.
Hello. So the band currently has a band room that's adjacent to where the new band room would be. You're a musician. The further issue is that our orchestra, for the 10 years that I've been at Rincon, has been performing in the green room underneath the theater auditorium stage. So it's designed for actors and actresses to change their clothes, but that's currently where orchestra holds their class. So the idea is if the band room moved into a room that was more suitable to house the size of our band, then that would free up the band room for the orchestra to actually have a legitimate classroom.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
And if I can add to that, I was there and I evaluated the orchestra in fine arts for quite a few years, and that orchestra room is so subpar, it's kind of embarrassing to go downstairs and see our kids practicing in that orchestra room. And since I got the mic, if you don't mind, I'm going to throw some discussion about the option between 2 and 3, because I'm looking at this about $200 and change $1,000 for administrative offices. I'm going to tell you, with as many classrooms and activity that's at that part of the campus, we would be doing our students a disservice not to have administrative offices so they can properly supervise and do what they're supposed to do through the course of their day. It is a long haul when you're having to go do something from the main office down to where the new offices are. It would also serve with the band being there with the amount of kids they have, and also the athletic fields down there that also require supervision, I think it's a win-win. And if we're talking, we're getting into the 7-8 million, and if we're going to hold back 200,000 because we don't have administrative offices, I think that's also a safety concern for our students.
To our principals, is that something that you all have looked at, those projects that you might be like, oh, we don't need this, we're okay with this not happening, other than the CTE program?
We are very short on office space in our campus, and exactly what Mr. Morrow was pointing out is exactly why we wanted administrative offices. It would take at least, even if I was walking as fast as I could and I'm very tall, it would take me at least 4 minutes to get down to that area. And we have no office space anywhere on that side of campus. And so it would be nice to have supervision, a more adult presence down there, because you do have 8 classrooms there. So multiply that by 34 kids. That's a lot of kids in one area with no administrative supervision. So it would be ideal to have it, but if we didn't get it, we would make do.
Any other questions? Ms. Arvizu?
I actually agree. That's a big school. It's 2 schools in one. It's thousands of students. It's a big campus, and yeah, I would agree with what he said. If you're going to spend $5.5 million, what's another 200,000?
I guess the question would be, you have to come up with the 200,000.
Yeah,
Is that
that's-
something that you're okay with?
It's about $235,612.
When we're talking that kind of a difference, I think that's something we could find in our building projects to make it happen if this board sees fit to approve the option 3.
I have a question for the principals too. The same sort of situation with Davis too. Is this project as important to you more so than any other project? Like if you're having to say, okay, I'm going to sacrifice A, B, C, and D for this, is that your priority and is that your choice?
It's a hard question to answer directly because we do have a long list of projects at our school. Like many of our schools, they're aging, the bones are old, and like we're talking about this $5 million and change difference, and we might possibly giving up building renovations, which are sorely, sorely needed on this campus. But we're also talking about a campus that has operated over capacity for well over a decade, if not longer. And I know we can look at projections and what have you. We mentioned earlier when talking about Davis that you probably don't even want a school operating at capacity because it leaves you no wiggle room for cases of emergency, i.e. almost 2 years ago when we had to reallocate more over a third of our campus elsewhere for structural refits to our north gym and to our auditorium, which completely displaced an incredible number of our students. As such, we know that a building on this campus should actually eventually lead to an expansion of what we're doing and not just a one-for-one swap. So we're willing to discuss those options when they come up, but the first step is we have to put a building there in the first place before we can even think about anything else.
And just as a former UHS mom, band mom, I'm very excited for any renovations that happen not only to your field but also to your band room and the addition of classrooms. Like, I hear ya.
So just to confirm, we're talking about the removal of 2 portables on this at 3?
No. We're talking about the removal of 4 portable structures, each housing 2 classrooms apiece.
Is that the ones on
On the north end of the campus, right behind the baseball
So we
field.
won't be relocating one, when I met with you, we were relocating one set of portables.
Two of them. We're going to
replace them.
relocate 2 of those to the south end to replace. You saw those pictures of the ones that are really dilapidated looking?
Mhm.
Those are other portables that exist on the south end of our campus. And so the ones on the north end are in slightly better shape. So we're going to replace those to the ones on the south end to augment those classrooms. On the left side picture are the ones on the south side of the
So
campus.
we're gaining 4 classrooms then?
We're going to gain 1 classroom out of that deal because those are
With the
3
eight-
portable classrooms on the south side, and we're going to use 2 portable structures with 2 classrooms each to move them to the south side. So instead of 3 classrooms, we'll have 4 classrooms on the south side of campus.
But with the new building though, it says 8.
With the new building, we'll be going a 1-for-1 swap, 8 classrooms out, 8 classrooms in. And we'll get a gain if we do the option with a band classroom. But again, we're just relocating the band and putting orchestra into the current band classroom, which is a tiered classroom designed in the 1950s.
Ms. Coleman?
I'm going to address also something you don't see, which we were talking about before this meeting. As a former parent of a UHS kid who loved the Rincon Part 2, the safety of being in those decrepit portables with the toxic materials that tend to be in them. It'll be great to sweep that out, to not have our kids subjected to that, but also some of the classrooms themselves our kids need to be out of. So to have a pristine, new opportunity, it really validates what the kids are there for. And I'll get really emotional about it because I was telling Owen that my daughter had cancer very soon after graduating, and it was a very obscure thing. And she said, I feel like being in those toxic materials didn't help me. And so you can't see it, but it's really, what do our kids really deserve?
I just have this is totally sidebar and probably like, I don't know if it's related or not, but
I like dark chocolate.
Me too, I'm on you. So I have a question on, would it be less expensive to build a 2-story building with these classrooms than a sprawling 1-story building? Could we save some money or do something a little more efficient?
It's a great question. So when you're looking at it, the straight answer is no, because you're looking at a 2-story structure where your foundations are going to have to be substantially larger, and the cost for that foundation and footing is going to basically wash the 1-story facility. And there's a lot of other things that go into a 2-story facility that are not here, i.e. then now we got to put elevators, we have to provide ADA access. So there's a lot of other things, accoutrements, when you go to a 2-story that don't make it cost effective, and that's why we looked at a single-story floor.
Any other questions for our principals or Mr. Gonzalez?
I noticed between option 2 and option 3, the difference in money is only $235,000. I don't see why we couldn't support option 3. From what I can tell and all the data that we have here, Rincon has a real problem in capacity, enrollment, etc. And I would suggest that that's a fairly small amount of money when we're talking about $7 or $8 million here. My only worry is who gets less or who doesn't get something, because you're taking from Peter to pay Paul.
So that's the conundrum for everybody. That's what I started off with, that somebody's going to get less. So in this case, because I'm stretching already, pulling some money from all the schools to do this. That's why I said my recommendation is that they would need to come from their list of bond projects. So they have money in various areas and they need to pick where to do that. So it's, again, I would love to do all these for all these things, but we're going to come against this every single time. And the other thing too, if we do decide admin offices is part of the scope, because it wasn't, then when we do the remaining ones, we need to do the same thing. Because what happens is kind of setting a precedent. It's kind of like when we did the fields. It wouldn't be right to do lesser of a field for one of the other schools, because now we set that standard. So we come to bring this to you guys for discussion, but I just want you to know the ripple effects.
But that would also fall on the principals at those schools to, decide if they're willing to sacrifice projects at their sites, correct? Mr. Rangel, did you have a comment? No?
I was looking at the bond book that was in front of us here.
And I do know there are some funds in our bond, such as there was, I believe, and don't quote me, but I believe there was about $250,000 allocated for flooring. But anybody that knows how much flooring costs for a ginormous building. Oh, sorry. Oh, so $387,000 for. Right, but $380,000 isn't enough to floor probably not even one floor of our 3-story building. And so, it would be heartbroken because I'd like to get new flooring because we need it desperately, but at the same time, it's really not enough to do enough to make a real impact on our campus. So there is some wiggle room within our own budget to come up with the extra money if necessary.
Okay, are there any more questions? Mr. Dahlquist?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to ask kind of an open-ended theoretical question. I've heard discussion about the possibility, and I don't know what the possibilities are about potential school closures in the future, depending on what happens with the budget. So one of the things that makes me think might be possible is that we might be allocating money to schools that may no longer be there in the future. And would we potentially be looking at consolidation and the possibility that funds could be opened up because of school closures that would have been directed there, but then being able to move that to schools that remain open?
I think at this time, there hasn't been any discussion about closures. Maybe there's rumors out there, but we need to deal with what we're here with now. And I don't think Rincon or University are anywhere near a list of closure at any time.
I'm not worried about Rincon University. I was throwing it out as just a calculus.
Okay, I'm ready to vote.
Miranda Carter, Ms. Ekstrom has her hand up.
Oh, Ms. Ekstrom, go ahead.
I would strongly caution that the board remain neutral on school closures. That is something that governing board has not discussed. It's not in the plans. So we really need to not talk about that because we do not want to, give the community any reason to think that that is something that is on the table when it's something that we have not discussed as a governing board.
Thank you, Ms. Ekstrom. I agree. Mr. Morrow?
Yeah, if I can just say, if, we're talking about precedents, right? So if they come up with the money to do this, that's also a good precedence for us too, moving forward. So it might be a feather in our cap in the long run.
Thank you. So I think we're ready to vote on this. Is there anybody else? So I motion to, actually, we're going to move with item 3. I think that's where everybody's.
I'll make a motion to vote for item 3.
Okay, second by myself. So a motion by Mr. Morrow, seconded by me. Ms. Barboa, we can do a roll call vote, please.
Jeffrey Anthony,
Yes.
Catherine Arvizu,
Yes.
Don Bell,
Yes.
Owen Brosanders,
Yes.
Cindy Coleman,
Yes.
Lindsay Escalona,
Yes.
Luis Gonzalez,
Aye.
Red Morrow,
Yes.
Raghu Nandan,
Yes.
Peter Norquist,
Yes.
Erica Miranda Carter.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, principals, for being here today. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day. That is great news, exciting things happening in TUSD. My hands are shaking. All righty then. Moving on to item 5.03, review of proposed quarter 2, quarter 4, fiscal year 2025-26 bond projects and priorities. Dr. Carter? Yeah.
Okay, if we can put up on the screen, it's the proposed project list for quarter 2 through 4. You guys, basically, we have already started with our summer projects. So for Choya and meeting with his staff, what he really wants during the time we have the school closure is to do building renovations, flooring, and portable renovations. If you look at the bottom of that document that's on the screen, it explains what those renovations are. So for building renovations for Choya, it would be exterior stucco renovation, exterior painting, and modular building roof membrane restoration. They want to do some flooring in the modular, and then in the portable renovations, some masonry skirting replacement, siding renovation, and flooring replacement. Then for, and these other projects you guys are used to because we've done that before. We have some convection oven replacements, at Hollinger, Lawrence, Mission View, and Safford, dish machine replacements, and this is for the summer, but we need to start, getting the materials and stuff now for Hollinger, Lawrence, Mission View, Safford. In artificial turf, the next set of schools is Cholla and Serraro, and both of those schools are getting domestic water lines, so it's ideal to do it during the time we got the school shut down like we did with Sabino. Health, security, and safety, we have the security window film. We have another set. This is phase 2 of the project. And if you could go slide down a little bit under there for the description. So it's basically what we're doing now with a much more limited scope. It's on number 2A. Number 2A, if you go down just a little bit more. But it's emphasizing the entry exterior. So basically doing what we're doing now, but just less windows at the various schools. And then if we go back up, the last thing that's listed is we want to do 2,592 replacement of Chromebooks. And we did 1,000 last year. So we want to do, and these are the ones that had the battery issue. So those are the next set of projects that I would like to do. If we go to the last, the spreadsheet, it has the detailed schools and costs. So we can go to the next, to the spreadsheet. And you guys have seen this, it was in the packet, but it lists the schools and how much each school is getting, which matches the overall cost of, for these particular projects, $7,752,200. And this is just getting ready for the summer and starting our whole next set of projects. So you guys can look through there, but it's just like what you always see, the specific, the first one's Cholla, because that's just, all that's for Cholla, for their packet of things that we want to do when the schools close. So you can just scroll through there if you would. Those are the schools and the amounts for the schools, the fields, and all that. Now the fields are a little bit more than what it was last year, but a lot of that has to do with the materials and the overall inflation and cost. So that is the projects that I want to do for this next phase from starting now, as soon as you got, if it's approved, to when school starts, because the goal is to have these set of things done when school starts in August. That's it.
Any questions for Dr. Carter? Any questions? Ms. Arvizu?
I'll put a motion to approve 5.3 bond projects for Q2 to Q4 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Arvizu, seconded by Mr. Bill Sanders. Ms. Barbara, we can have a roll call vote, please.
Jeffrey Anthony,
Yes.
Catherine Arvizu,
Yes.
Don Bell,
Yes.
Owen Bro Sanders,
Yes.
Cindy Coleman,
Yes.
Lindsay Escalona,
Yes.
Luis Gonzalez,
Aye.
Red Morrow,
Yes.
Raghu Nandan,
Yes.
Peter Nordquist,
Yes.
Erica Miranda Carter.
Yes, motion passes.
And I'll just
Great,
say thank
Ms.
you, Dr. Carter, for bundling buy more, save more.
Exactly, right. Thank you, guys. I know it's was a hard one this time, but thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carter.
Good.
Moving on to item 6.01, information on new meeting agenda platform. I believe that is Ms. Borboa.
Yes, that's me. I just wanted to give you guys a bit of information. We are going to move our new agenda system to a different company. It's called Diligent Community. It's kind of partnered with Board Docs, but they're kind of migrating together. So it's now going to be called Diligent Community. It is going to be different, and let me bring that up. Hold on. Vanessa and I are in the process of training, and we're holding our last training, I believe, tomorrow. So soon you're going to be getting some emails from us that will give you the link to Diligent Community. This is what it's going to look like when you first open it. You'll find the meetings on the right-hand side where recent meetings, upcoming meetings. Once we get those agendas up there, you'll be able to click on the meeting dates, and then you can view your agenda. So we are looking at, or they're looking at having this go live January 2nd. We're going to have to hold training with you guys probably in your January meeting. So for that first meeting, we'll go ahead and whatever attachments we have for that meeting agenda, we'll go ahead and send them to you via email. That way you'll be able to see them, just in case you can't log into the system at that time. But we'll go ahead and hold a little training for you to be able to view the agenda materials and stuff like that. So does anybody have any questions or?
Ms. Barboa, those links, are they going to be going to our personal emails you have on file or to the TUSD email?
We're going to go ahead and create TUSD emails. You probably already have them, but we're going to make sure they're all working. So you'll have a TUSD email address, and we'll give you the information of how to log on to your TUSD email address as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Ms. Barboa.
And then you can, there's a place on there, if you go a little bit lower, you can subscribe there, and you can actually get email notifications when upcoming meetings are coming up. So, and the public will be able to do that too, and they'll receive notifications when we probably publish a meeting and stuff like that. So, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Barboa? Okay, so then that takes us now to future meeting dates and agenda. This is our last meeting for this year, not for this school year, but for this year. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 15th through 2026. Is there any items, anything that anyone wants added to their future agenda? Okay, so then with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn at 3:05. Thank you, everybody. You did good timing. Have a happy holiday season. Take care.